In a time veiled by the mists of legend, there lived a girl named Tam, blessed with a beauty that mirrored the dawn. Her early childhood, though touched by the sorrow of her mother's passing, was filled with a radiant love that shone brightly upon her. Her father, a man of gentle strength and unwavering devotion, poured all his heart into raising her. Their home, humble yet filled with warmth, echoed with laughter and the simple joys of companionship. Tam's father cherished her with a tenderness that painted their days in hues of gold. He would weave stories for her under the starry sky, his voice a soothing melody that lulled her to sleep. He taught her the songs of the birds and the secrets whispered by the wind. Together they explored the verdant rice paddies, hand in hand, their bond a beacon of unwavering affection. Their life, though simple, was a tapestry woven with threads of pure, unadulterated love. However, the tranquility of their existence was soon to be shattered. Time, with its relentless march, brought changes that cast a long shadow over Tam's idyllic world. Her father, seeking companionship and a mother figure for his beloved daughter, made the fateful decision to remarry. This marked the arrival of a wicked woman, whose heart harbored a darkness that would soon engulf Tam's life, and her spiteful daughter, Cam. The stepmother and stepsister descended upon their home like a storm, bringing with them an icy wind of resentment and malice. Their hearts, consumed by envy, saw in Tam only a rival, a constant reminder of their own perceived shortcomings. The contrast between Tam's gentle and compassionate nature and their cruel and calculating demeanor was stark and unsettling. The atmosphere of the once happy home grew heavy with unspoken animosity. From that day forward, Tam's life transformed into a relentless cycle of toil and hardship. The stepmother, driven by her insatiable jealousy, forced upon Tam a life of servitude. Stripped of her fine clothes, she was made to wear rags, her once pristine hands calloused from endless chores. Day and night she was compelled to cook, scrub floors, clean the house and fetch water, her youthful spirit burdened by the weight of ceaseless labor. Yet, despite the harshness of her treatment, Tam's inherent beauty remained undiminished. Her hair flowed like silk in the wind, her skin retained the fairness of the clouds at dawn, and her voice held the sweet melody of a nightingale's song. Instead of diminishing their envy, her unyielding grace only intensified the stepmother and stepsister's resentment. They saw in her beauty a threat, a constant reminder of their own ugliness, both inside and out. Driven to desperation, the stepmother began sending Tam on increasingly dangerous errands, hoping that some misfortune would befall her. She sent her to the forest to gather firewood where wild animals roamed, and to the marketplace to sell goods, knowing she was unfamiliar with bartering. Each task was designed with the intent to harm, to eliminate the perceived threat that Tam posed. But each time, against all odds, Tam returned home unharmed, her spirit unbroken, further fueling the stepmother's growing frustration and rage. The stepmother, her mind a cauldron of spiteful schemes, devised a new plan to torment Tam. One day, she summoned both Tam and Cam, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "My dear girls," she began, her eyes glinting with malice, "I have a special task for you today. A contest, if you will." She announced that both Tam and Cam would be sent to fish in the river, promising a reward to the one who returned with the fullest basket, a pretty red, yem silk. The mention of the red silk ignited a spark of hope within Tam's weary heart. She had never owned anything beautiful, her life a constant cycle of rags and drudgery. The thought of wearing something so exquisite, so vibrant, filled her with a longing she had long suppressed. The yem silk, a rare and precious fabric, represented a fleeting escape from her grim reality, a symbol of beauty and grace that she desperately craved. Driven by the desire to win the coveted prize, Tam set to work with diligence and determination. She carefully chose her fishing spot, patiently casting her net, and skillfully luring the fish. Hours passed under the scorching sun, yet she persevered, her focus unwavering, her hope fueled by the vision of the shimmering red silk. By the end of the day her basket was brimming with fish, a testament to her hard work and unwavering spirit. Meanwhile, Cam, accustomed to a life of leisure and pampered indulgence, spent the afternoon wandering aimlessly along the riverbank. Distracted by her own vanity and disdainful of manual labor, she made little effort to fish. As the sun began to set, she realized with dismay that her basket remained empty, a stark contrast to Tam's overflowing catch. Panic surged through her, threatening to shatter her carefully constructed facade of superiority. Seeing an opportunity to seize victory through deceit, Cam hatched a cunning plan. Approaching Tam with feigned innocence, she suggested, "Sister, you must be tired from all your hard work. Why don't you wash yourself in the river before we head home? It will refresh you." Tam, unsuspecting of her stepsister's treachery, gratefully agreed. As Tam waded into the cool water, Cam stealthily switched their baskets, replacing Tam's bountiful catch with her own empty one. With a sly grin, she hurried home, leaving Tam to unknowingly face the devastating consequences of her deception. When Tam finally emerged from the river, refreshed but still weary, she reached for her basket, eager to claim her reward. But as she lifted it, her heart plummeted. The basket was empty, the fish, the promise of the red silk all gone. A wave of despair washed over her, crushing her hopes and dreams. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the cruel extent of Cam's treachery. The unfairness of it all, the constant injustice she endured, was almost too much to bear. Just as her spirit threatened to break entirely, a miraculous event occurred. A gentle breeze caressed her skin, and a radiant light illuminated the riverbank. Looking up through her tear-filled eyes, Tam beheld the ethereal figure of the goddess of mercy. Her face radiated compassion, and her eyes shone with understanding. Having witnessed Tam's suffering and unwavering goodness, the goddess had come to offer solace and guidance. "Do not despair, my child," the goddess said, her voice a soothing balm to Tam's wounded soul. "Look again in your basket." Hesitantly Tam obeyed, and to her astonishment, she discovered a small golden fish nestled among the reeds. "Take this fish, Tam," the goddess instructed. "Bring it home, care for it and feed it well. It will bring you comfort in your time of sorrow." With a final, benevolent smile, the goddess vanished, leaving Tam with a fragile glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming adversity. Clutching the small golden fish, Tam's heart fluttered with a mixture of hope and trepidation. She carefully carried it back to the house, mindful of the precious gift bestowed upon her by the goddess of mercy. Following the divine instructions, she sought out the well behind their dwelling, a place of quiet solitude away from the prying eyes of her stepmother and stepsister. There, in the cool depths of the well, she gently released the fish into its new home. From that day forward, Tam devoted herself to the care of the golden fish. Despite her meager rations, she diligently saved small portions of her own food to feed her new companion. Every morning and evening she would visit the well, her heart filled with anticipation. The fish, as if recognizing her gentle spirit, would eagerly await her arrival, its golden scales shimmering beneath the water's surface. A unique bond blossomed between Tam and the fish. As she sang soft melodies, her voice echoing through the tranquil space, the fish would swim gracefully around her, as if dancing to her tune. In the depths of her despair, the golden fish became Tam's sole confidant, her secret source of joy and comfort. It was a connection forged in loneliness and nurtured by kindness, a haven of solace in her otherwise bleak existence. The golden fish represented a brief respite from Tam's harsh reality. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, beauty and connection could still exist. The shimmering scales, the graceful movements, and the unspoken understanding between them provided Tam with a sense of peace and purpose that had long been absent from her life. In the presence of the fish, she felt seen, valued and loved, if only by a small, golden creature. However, Tam's newfound happiness did not go unnoticed. The stepmother, ever watchful and suspicious, grew increasingly irritated by Tam's subtle but undeniable contentment. She sensed a hidden source of joy, a secret that Tam guarded closely. The stepmother's jealousy festered, fueling her desire to eradicate any semblance of happiness from Tam's life. Driven by spite, the stepmother devised a cruel plan. One day she feigned a need for supplies from the distant marketplace, and cunningly sent Tam on a long and arduous errand. As Tam trudged along the dusty road, unaware of the impending doom, the stepmother seized her opportunity. With a heart full of malice, she crept to the well, her eyes glinting with wicked intent. She reached into the water, snatched the unsuspecting golden fish, and carried it back to the kitchen. While Tam was away, toiling under the scorching sun, the stepmother callously prepared the golden fish for dinner. She cooked it with a chilling lack of remorse, savoring the thought of the pain she would inflict upon Tam. When Tam returned home, weary and burdened, she rushed to the well, eager to greet her beloved companion. But the well was empty. The golden fish was gone. A wave of profound grief washed over Tam. Her heart shattered into a million pieces as she realized the cruel fate that had befallen her cherished friend. Tears streamed down her face as she wept uncontrollably, her sobs echoing through the silent courtyard. The loss of the golden fish was more than just the loss of a pet. It was the loss of her only solace, her only source of unconditional love. As Tam mourned, the goddess of mercy reappeared, her presence a beacon of hope amidst the despair. "Do not grieve so deeply, my child," she said, her voice filled with compassion. "Though the fish is gone, its spirit remains. Gather the bones and bury them in 4 separate jars, underneath each corner of your bed. Trust in the magic that is yet to come." With these comforting words, the goddess vanished, leaving Tam with a glimmer of hope and a mysterious task to perform. News of the king's grand ball spread throughout the kingdom like wildfire, igniting excitement in every heart. It was to be a celebration of unprecedented scale, a dazzling display of royal splendor, and an opportunity for the kingdom's eligible maidens to capture the king's attention. The air buzzed with anticipation as families prepared for the momentous occasion, dreaming of the honor and prestige that would be bestowed upon the chosen one. In her humble corner of the world, Tam felt a quiet longing to attend the ball. She imagined herself amidst the glittering lights, the enchanting music, and the beautifully adorned guests. Yet, she knew that such dreams were far beyond her reach. Her stepmother and stepsister would never allow her such a privilege, and even if they did, she possessed nothing suitable to wear, no finery to present herself in the royal court. The stepmother and Cam, however, were consumed by the upcoming event. They spent days meticulously planning their attire, selecting the most extravagant gowns, the most dazzling jewels, and the most elaborate hairstyles. They envisioned themselves as the center of attention, captivating the king with their beauty and charm. Their preparations were a whirlwind of silks, perfumes, and endless hours spent admiring their reflections in the mirror. Meanwhile, Tam was relegated to the sidelines, forced to assist in their preparations, while being constantly reminded of her own unworthiness. She ironed their gowns, polished their jewels, and endured their endless criticisms, her heart heavy with a mixture of longing and resentment. The contrast between their excitement and her exclusion was a painful reminder of her lowly status and the injustice she endured. As the day of the ball drew near, the stepmother, determined to prevent Tam from even dreaming of attending, presented her with a seemingly impossible task. She emptied 2 large baskets, one filled with black beans and the other with green beans, and mixed them together into a single, overwhelming pile. "Sort these beans, Tam," she commanded, her voice laced with cruel satisfaction. "If you finish before the ball begins, you may go, but if you don't, you will stay here and continue your chores." Tam's heart sank as she surveyed the daunting task before her. The sheer volume of beans was overwhelming, and she knew that it would take days, if not weeks, to sort them all. The stepmother's intention was clear: to ensure that Tam would be trapped at home, far away from the royal ball and any chance of happiness. Tears welled up in Tam's eyes as she realized the futility of her situation. She was trapped in a web of cruelty and despair, with no hope of escape. As Tam tearfully began to sort the beans, her fingers moving slowly and her spirit crushed, the goddess of mercy once again appeared before her. Her presence radiated warmth and compassion, a beacon of hope in the midst of Tam's despair. "Do not lose heart, my child," the goddess said, her voice gentle and reassuring. "Your kindness and perseverance have not gone unnoticed. I am here to help you." With a wave of her hand, the goddess transformed a swarm of flies into a flock of sparrows, who immediately set to work, pecking and sorting the beans with incredible speed. In a matter of moments, the impossible task was completed, leaving Tam in astonished gratitude. "Now," the goddess continued, "dig up the 4 jars that you buried beneath the corners of your bed." Tam, remembering the goddess's previous instructions, obeyed without hesitation. With trembling hands and a heart pounding with anticipation, Tam followed the goddess's instruction and unearthed the 4 jars buried beneath the corners of her bed. Each jar held a secret, a magical treasure that would forever alter the course of her destiny. As she opened the first jar, her eyes widened in astonishment. Inside lay a dress of silk, more beautiful than anything she had ever imagined. It shimmered with an ethereal glow, its colors shifting like the dawn sky, a stark contrast to the drab rags she usually wore. The second jar revealed a collection of dazzling jewelry, each piece crafted with exquisite detail and radiant brilliance. Necklaces adorned with shimmering gemstones, bracelets of intricately woven gold, and earrings that sparkled like distant stars filled her vision. They were fit for a queen, a far cry from the simple life she had always known. Tam gasped, overwhelmed by the sheer opulence and beauty of the treasures before her. In the third jar she discovered a pair of golden slippers, crafted with such delicate artistry that they seemed to float in the air. Their surfaces gleamed with a soft, inviting light, promising comfort and grace with every step. They were the perfect complement to the silk dress and the radiant jewelry, completing a transformation that felt both surreal and utterly magical. The final jar held the most astonishing surprise of all, a magnificent chariot, pulled by majestic snow-white steeds. The chariot was adorned with intricate carvings and shimmering gold accents, radiating an aura of royalty and grandeur. It was a vehicle fit for a queen, ready to whisk her away to a world of dreams and possibilities. Tam stared in disbelief, her heart overflowing with gratitude and a sense of wonder. With trembling hands, Tam shed her rags and donned the exquisite silk dress. It fit her perfectly, as if tailored by the gods themselves. She fastened the dazzling jewelry around her neck and wrists, each piece adding to her radiant beauty. Finally, she slipped her feet into the golden slippers, feeling a surge of confidence and grace with every step. The transformation was complete. She was no longer the downtrodden servant girl, but a vision of ethereal beauty, ready to claim her destiny. As she climbed into the magnificent chariot, the white steeds eagerly awaited her command. With a gentle flick of the reins, the chariot surged forward, carrying her swiftly towards the palace gates. The wind rushed through her hair as she marveled at the speed and smoothness of the ride. The palace, once a distant dream, was now within her reach, shimmering in the distance like a beacon of hope. In her haste and excitement, as the chariot sped towards the palace, one of the golden slippers slipped from her foot and tumbled into the river. Unaware of the loss, Tam continued her journey, her heart filled with anticipation and a sense of destiny. Little did she know that this seemingly minor mishap would set in motion a chain of events that would forever change her life and the fate of the kingdom. The golden slipper, dislodged from Tam's foot, embarked on its own unexpected journey. It danced upon the river's surface, carried by the gentle current, a silent messenger of destiny. Twirling and gliding, it floated downstream, past verdant banks and sleepy villages, until it reached the heart of the kingdom, near the palace grounds. There, a palace servant, drawing water from the river, noticed an object of unparalleled beauty, shimmering amidst the reeds. He reached out and retrieved the golden slipper, marveling at its exquisite craftsmanship. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, radiating an ethereal glow and crafted with a precision that spoke of divine artistry. Intrigued, he brought the slipper to the king. The king was immediately captivated. He had seen countless treasures in his lifetime, but none possessed the singular beauty and grace of this golden slipper. Its delicate curves and radiant finish seemed to hold a secret, a promise of untold wonders. He declared that a kingdom-wide search would commence. Any maiden whose foot perfectly fit the slipper would become his queen. Excitement surged through the kingdom. Every eligible woman dreamed of becoming the king's chosen bride. The grand hall of the palace transformed into a stage of hopeful anticipation. One by one, the ladies of the court, including the envious Cam, eagerly stepped forward to try on the slipper. Gowns rustled, jewels sparkled, and hearts fluttered with anticipation. Yet, to their dismay, the slipper remained stubbornly unyielding. It was either too large, too small, or simply refused to conform to any foot presented. Just as hope began to dwindle, a vision of elegance appeared at the palace doors. Tam, adorned in her remaining golden slipper and radiant silk gown, approached the king. A murmur swept through the crowd. The king, struck by her beauty, extended his hand and presented the matching slipper. As Tam slipped her foot into the waiting shoe, it fit perfectly, as if crafted solely for her. A collective gasp filled the hall as the king recognized his destined queen. That very night, under the shimmering moonlight, Tam and the king were wed in a grand ceremony. The kingdom rejoiced as their beloved ruler found his queen, a woman of unparalleled beauty, grace, and kindness. Tam, once a downtrodden servant girl, ascended to her rightful place, ready to rule with compassion and wisdom, her journey a testament to the enduring power of goodness and destiny. Life as queen was a dream realized for Tam. She resided in a magnificent palace, surrounded by comfort and luxury, but her greatest joy was the unwavering love and companionship of her beloved king. Together, they ruled with justice and compassion, their reign bringing prosperity and happiness to the kingdom. In stark contrast, Tam's stepmother and stepsister continued their miserable existence in their old house, consumed by jealousy and resentment, their hearts festering with bitterness. Time passed, and the anniversary of Tam's father's death approached. Deeply rooted in Vietnamese culture is the concept of filial duty, the profound respect and obligation owed to one's parents, even in death. It was Tam's sacred responsibility to honor her deceased father at his grave, offering prayers and demonstrating her unwavering love and remembrance. Despite her elevated status as queen, she felt compelled to return to her old home to fulfill this crucial tradition. News of Tam's impending return reached the ears of her cunning stepmother, and a new, treacherous plot began to form in her wicked mind. Sensing an opportunity to finally rid herself of Tam, she greeted her with false warmth and a sinister glint in her eyes. As Tam prepared to visit her father's grave, the stepmother suggested, "My dear, it would be a beautiful offering to present betel nuts at the altar, but they are so high up on the areca tree, would you be so kind as to climb it and gather some?" Tam, unsuspecting of the stepmother's true intentions and trusting in her words, readily agreed. She knew climbing the tall, slender areca tree was a dangerous task, but her devotion to her father and her inherent goodness prevented her from suspecting any malice. With nimble feet and unwavering determination she began her ascent, carefully navigating the precarious branches. Unbeknownst to Tam, as she climbed higher and higher, the wicked stepmother seized an axe and crept towards the base of the tree. With a heart filled with hatred and a chilling resolve, she began to chop away at the trunk. The resounding thuds echoed through the air as the tree swayed violently, its stability compromised by each brutal strike. Tam, realizing the imminent danger, cried out in terror, but her pleas were drowned out by the stepmother's maniacal laughter. With a final, devastating blow, the stepmother severed the tree completely. Tam, caught off guard, and with no means of escape, plummeted to the ground with a sickening thud. Her life, so full of promise and hope, was tragically cut short by the stepmother's ruthless act of betrayal. Cam, ever opportunistic, wasted no time in capitalizing on her sister's demise. With a chilling lack of remorse, she seized Tam's royal garments and donned them herself, attempting to mimic her sister's grace and poise. She then brazenly entered the palace, hoping to deceive the king and usurp her sister's place as queen, forever securing her own power and status. In the wake of Tam's tragic death, a miracle unfolded. Her spirit, yearning for her beloved king, immediately reincarnated into a beautiful nightingale. With iridescent plumage and a song of unparalleled sweetness, the nightingale settled within the king's palace garden, a place once filled with shared laughter, and now echoing with sorrow. The king, devastated by the loss of his queen, withdrew into himself. The vibrant palace, once alive with celebrations, grew silent, mirroring his grief-stricken heart. He wandered through the gardens, his steps heavy, his gaze distant, haunted by memories of Tam's radiant smile and gentle touch. The joy had vanished from his life, replaced by an overwhelming sense of emptiness and despair. One day, as the king aimlessly strolled through the garden, the nightingale began to sing. Its melody was hauntingly beautiful, a cascade of notes that resonated deep within his soul. The song was filled with longing and tenderness, a familiar cadence that stirred something profound within him. He recognized the melody, a sweet echo of Tam's own singing voice, which he had so dearly loved. Tears welled in his eyes as the nightingale's song transported him back to happier times, reminding him of the joy and love he had shared with his queen. Overcome with emotion, the king turned towards the nightingale, his heart filled with a flicker of hope. He spoke to the bird, his voice trembling with emotion. "If you are truly the spirit of my beloved Tam, I implore you, come and land upon the wide sleeves of my robe." He extended his arm, his heart pounding with anticipation, praying for a sign, a confirmation that his queen had returned to him in this new, ethereal form. To his astonishment, the nightingale responded. It fluttered its wings and gracefully landed upon the king's outstretched sleeve, its tiny claws gently clinging to the fabric. The king was overwhelmed with joy and disbelief. He cradled the bird close to his heart, tears streaming down his face, convinced that it was indeed Tam, returned to him in the form of a nightingale. He felt her presence, her love, her unwavering devotion, emanating from the small, feathered creature. The king immediately ordered a golden cage to be crafted. Inlaid with precious jewels and lined with the softest silk, he placed the nightingale within it and positioned the cage beside his bed, ensuring that his beloved Tam was always close by. He spent his days listening to her enchanting melodies, finding solace in her presence. The nightingale's song, a constant reminder of their enduring love. Cam, witnessing the king's affection for the nightingale, grew increasingly jealous. She felt neglected and resentful, her efforts to win the king's favor thwarted by a mere bird. Consumed by spite, she waited for an opportunity to rid herself of the nightingale and reclaim the king's attention. One day, while the king was away on a hunting trip, Cam seized her chance. With a heart full of malice, she snatched the nightingale from its golden cage, cruelly killed it, and buried it deep within the woods, hoping to erase all traces of Tam from the king's life. From the very spot where the nightingale was laid to rest, a miracle began to unfold. Nourished by the earth and perhaps by the lingering essence of Tam's spirit, a tree of extraordinary beauty sprung forth. It grew at an astonishing rate, its branches reaching towards the heavens, its leaves a vibrant tapestry of green. But what made this tree truly exceptional was the single fruit it bore, a golden fruit, shimmering with an otherworldly light, and emitting an aroma of unparalleled sweetness. The scent of the golden fruit was intoxicating, a blend of honey, sunshine, and a hint of something magically enticing. It drifted through the woods, drawing all who passed near. One day, a kind, poor old woman, burdened by years of hardship and toil, wandered along the path. The exquisite fragrance captivated her, leading her to the magnificent tree. She gazed in wonder at the golden fruit, its beauty far surpassing anything she had ever seen. The old woman, her heart filled with reverence, approached the tree with humility. She knew she could never afford such a treasure, nor did she dare to pluck it from its branch. Instead, she clasped her hands together and offered a humble plea. "Oh, beautiful fruit," she whispered, her voice trembling with awe, "if you would be so kind, please fall to me. I promise I will not eat you, but only adore you, cherishing your beauty and fragrance each and every day." As if responding to her heartfelt request, the golden fruit detached itself from the tree and gently fell into the old woman's outstretched hands. Overjoyed, she cradled it with care, her eyes shining with gratitude. True to her word, she carried the fruit back to her humble dwelling, placing it on a small table as the centerpiece of her simple home. She spent her days simply admiring it, reveling in its exquisite scent and the joy it brought to her heart. One morning the old woman left her hut to gather firewood. Upon her return, she was met with an astonishing sight. The house was impeccably clean, the floors swept, and the hearth ablaze. A delicious aroma wafted from a steaming pot on the stove, promising a warm and nourishing meal. Bewildered, she wondered who could have performed such acts of kindness in her absence. Determined to uncover the mystery, the old woman pretended to leave the next day, but instead she hid behind the door, patiently waiting. To her utter amazement, she witnessed the golden fruit begin to glow, and from within its shimmering peel emerged the beautiful Tam. With graceful movements, Tam began tidying the house, preparing a meal, and filling the small space with a sense of warmth and light. The old woman, realizing the magical nature of the fruit, and the kind heart of the maiden within, acted quickly. She rushed forward and tore the golden peel into pieces, preventing Tam from returning to her enchanted prison. Embracing the bewildered girl, the old woman declared, "You shall be my daughter now, and we will live together in this peaceful hut, finding solace and happiness in each other's company." And so, in the heart of the woods, a new chapter began for Tam, a journey of healing and renewal, guided by the kindness of a loving heart. Time moved forward, and fate, as it often does, intervened in the lives of those touched by injustice and love. The king, while engaged in a royal hunting expedition deep within the forest, experienced a sudden, profound sense of familiarity. It was a delicate, almost ethereal aroma, the distinct and peculiar scent of betel, prepared in a manner that only his late queen Tam had ever mastered. His heart quickened, a long dormant hope flickering within his chest. Driven by an irresistible impulse, the king followed the enchanting fragrance, his hunting party trailing behind him in curious anticipation. The scent led him through winding paths and beneath the verdant canopy, until, at last, it guided him to a humble hut, nestled amidst the trees. It was the dwelling of the old woman who had shown such kindness to Tam in her time of need. The old woman, delighted by the unexpected royal visit, welcomed the king with warmth and hospitality, offering him tea and a meticulously prepared serving of betel. As the king partook, a wave of astonishment washed over him. The betel was prepared precisely as Tam had always made it, a unique blend of flavors and aromas that he could never forget. A surge of emotion rose within him as he inquired, his voice trembling slightly, about the creator of this exquisite delicacy. "My daughter prepared it, Your Majesty," the old woman replied, her eyes twinkling with affection. "She has a gift for such things." The king's anticipation grew with each passing moment. He requested to meet this daughter, the one who possessed the culinary skills so reminiscent of his beloved Tam. As Tam emerged from the hut, bowing respectfully before the king, recognition dawned upon him like the rising sun. It was her. Undeniably, irrevocably, Tam. Tears welled in his eyes, a mixture of disbelief, overwhelming joy, and profound relief. Tam, too, recognized her beloved king, and her own tears flowed freely as she rushed forward to embrace him. Without hesitation, the king ordered Tam's immediate return to the palace. He reinstated her as his rightful queen, showering her with love and affection, their reunion celebrated throughout the kingdom. Justice had prevailed, and their love had conquered even death itself. Meanwhile, back in their old dwelling, Cam seethed with uncontrollable jealousy upon witnessing Tam's triumphant return. Seeing Tam as radiant and beautiful as ever, her envy consumed her. In a desperate attempt to regain the king's favor, she approached Tam, feigning remorse and begging for the secret to her enduring beauty. "Sister, please," she pleaded. "Tell me how you maintain such flawless skin and radiant hair. I would do anything to be as beautiful as you." Tam, remembering the pain and suffering inflicted upon her by Cam, saw an opportunity for retribution. With a calm and measured voice, she instructed Cam, "If you truly desire such beauty, you must cleanse yourself in a bath of boiling water. It is the only way to achieve the radiance you seek." Cam, blinded by her own vanity and foolishness, believed Tam's deceitful words without question. Driven by her insatiable desire for beauty, and her unwavering belief in Tam's instructions, Cam prepared a scalding bath, and plunged into the boiling water. Her screams echoed through the palace, as she met a gruesome and deserved end, a tragic consequence of her own wickedness and envy. When the stepmother learned of her daughter's horrific demise, her grief was inconsolable. Weeping uncontrollably, she mourned the loss of her beloved Cam. her tears flowing until her eyes could bear no more, and she was rendered blind. The stepmother, stripped of her sight, and her wicked accomplice, was left to face the consequences of her cruelty and malice, alone in her darkness. With their tormentors vanquished and justice finally served, Tam and the king reigned with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering love. Their kingdom prospered, and their happiness endured, a testament to the power of goodness, resilience, and the enduring triumph of love over adversity. They lived their lives free from malice, their hearts filled with joy, their story echoing through the ages, as a reminder that kindness and virtue will always prevail.